Hello, it's April 2021, and I think we're round about the middle of April, but I'm not even sure of that because I haven't looked it up. And I haven't touched the project since last October. It's been there under plastic, and the reason for that is I sort of declared it finished because I entered it for the Rugby Open, which is a big, our local art exhibition, and just about that time, the COVID second wave was really starting to kick in. If you're watching this far in the future, just as we're talking about Great Britain, and we're talking about October 2020 when that happened, and in November I got the email to say that my piece had not been accepted, and I was gutted. I've been putting things in for the Rugby Open since 2004, and I've almost always been successful. You can put 3 things in, and I don't always get all 3 in, but I usually get 1 in most years, and I pretty much thought I knew the score, and this is the most sophisticated, detailed thing I've ever done. So I was 99% confident, and therefore absolutely gutted when it didn't get in. Now, I guess part of the reason is for the first time ever, entries had to be online, so the judges didn't get to see the piece. The online form for submitting stuff was problems, and all you could submit was a picture or an ultra low resolution 3-second video to get within the file size that was their maximum. I had to do this tiny little whiz round clip, which, if I remember, I'll tack on the end of this segment so you can see what they had to go on. But the judging in open art exhibitions is always problematic. It's part of the fun. You always see in art exhibitions some stuff that you think, it's terrible, and then you see, if you ever get to see stuff being taken away at the start of an exhibition, the stuff that's been unsuccessful, you see some amazing stuff, and that's the way it goes. But I was nonetheless, well, devastated is too small a word for it, really. Shouldn't have been, because I've had some pieces not accepted before. I've seen other people get stuff, wonderful stuff, not accepted. I've even sort of, counselled and consoled people that have had that. But yeah, it was terrible, and I thought a lot about taking the sign of the quiet woman and just putting it on the bonfire. But several months later, here I am, and it's not on the bonfire. It's still over there. It's been under plastic this whole time. The Rugby Open itself just didn't happen because COVID got worse, and we entered just before Christmas with, crazily, a little reprieve for Christmas itself. We entered full lockdown in Britain, and as of now, the number of deaths are about 130,000. Staggering, really, and an awful lot of, many things stopped. And the Rugby Open Exhibition, there was an online version of it. Apparently, you could go and look at pictures of the stuff. It was all put up on the walls, I suppose, but it's just not the same as actually seeing art, particularly 3-dimensional stuff. So it didn't happen anyway after all that. So even if I'd have got in, people wouldn't have seen it. So I haven't been idle for all that time. I've done some art. I've been making these tins, which have a sort of little saying and a theme, and I've made about, 10 or so, maybe a dozen of those to sort of keep my creative eye in on the art side. I've done a lot of photography. I've done a lot of writing. but I haven't really done any sculpting or crafting or model making, whatever you want to call it. And the things there on my sculpting stand, so I haven't done any of that kind of sculptures really. I've been fixing one this week. I have decided that I'm going to resume the project. Hurrah, or boo. Last week I started uploading the videos, so if you've seen video 1 in this series, that was actually uploaded last week, and today I uploaded video 2. The only day I've got for this project now is Fridays, and it's taken me most of Fridays to edit the blooming videos, so I've got to speed up on the video editing. I have decided that the tower needs redoing. I'm not happy with the tower. It still looks like a bit of something wrapped round a tube. And I think part of the reason is I was so pleased with the chimney, which is made with individual bricks. I have crazily, after taking months to get to this point, decided I'm going to do the tower in individual bricks. First job will be to improve this thing, because that is rubbish. Even with the patent half a clothes peg to keep these bendy plastic things rigid, it's not going to be good enough to cut hundreds of bricks. Finally, the video I put up last week, in a week, it got likes. It got 2 likes, and then somebody took their like down. So it got 1 like. So I'm now pleading with people, if you're listening to this, if you're mad enough to have listened to this segment, which I can see is nearly 7 minutes, you must consider that you're slightly less bored than you would be if you weren't watching this. So please give them the videos a like on YouTube, right? It really matters, because if you give it a like on YouTube show it to other people, and then it might get a few more likes, and then I might actually feel validated. I might feel that I'm getting, people are enjoying this stuff, and rather than I'm just wasting my life. So lots of people tell me on other social medias, well done, that's good, yeah, we'll watch that, and I get lots of watches, get lots of views, but people don't bother to get to the end and click the like button. So please do that. Thank you. It's a week later, and I'm getting the hang of editing the videos. This is actually the 3rd week of putting the clips together and putting them up onto YouTube, but it's still taken me 2.5 hours so far this morning to edit an 18-minute video, and now it will take a long time to upload, in which time, when it was actually converting the video, it kept crashing every time the computer wanted to sleep. It can take a blooming long time to upload, and then once it gets up to YouTube, there's stuff to do before you can actually publish it. But I did do a little bit of something last weekend. When I first moved to this studio 2 years ago, this box that I keep my paints in needed to fit into this alcove. And so I cut the end of it off and just replaced the end panel. And it proved to be just the thing when I found it 2 years later, lying in the... 3 years later, in fact, lying in the back of the shed to mount that on. So I drilled a hole, and then that is just stuck on there with lots of construction glue in 2 layers. Now it's getting towards doing the job, but as you can see, I think from this angle, if I put the phone level on it, it's not perpendicular yet. It is from this angle. You can probably just about see that. And the biggest problem, in fact, is still this flexibility. You might remember I had the jaws wedged apart with a piece of half a clothes peg, but it's just not holding that taut. So I'm going to have to put an extra wooden arm or something on there, firstly to hold it taut, but also to be able to get it a little bit straighter to the right angles. I'm not sure if perpendicular is the right word, because a line is perpendicular to another line in 2 dimensions, isn't it? I wonder if there's a more specific mathematical term for a line being perpendicular to a plane, or perhaps that's just what perpendicular actually means. Yeah, and the other thing I've got to somehow figure out this weekend when I get in the shed is some sort of a fence, which is a piece of a straight edge, which is usually fixed at either end in such a way as to be adjustable, because really when you're cutting pieces you're always sliding them up against 2 perpendicular flat surfaces. I don't have any idea how I'm going to do that yet. It's another Friday and still under plastic, as you can see. My day for working on this project has been a day of doing a photo shoot of somebody and then unblocking a toilet for much of the day, and I've edited and uploaded episode 4 of these videos, and the day really has gone. So as far as actually making progress on the project, disappointing. I have been thinking though, I'm thinking about making the blocks for the tower, and this is a plan view. It's what the blocks would look like from above, and they're not blocks, they're not cuboid blocks. Exaggerating the shape somewhat, they would look like that in a sort of well-built tower. And of course I can try to reduce the weight. They don't need to be as thick as they would actually be, so trying to reduce the weight, I could do them slimmer shapes, but cutting hundreds of those in XPS foam is going to be a nightmare, I think. So I'm hoping that I can get away with cuboid blocks, enough of them. There would probably be more than that than I've drawn there in the round. Enough of them will be blocks, and this wouldn't actually be strong, but you won't, I don't think you will see, if there are enough of them, that those are straight lines, not slightly curved lines. And the mortar will be infilling there, and you'll see it from that angle. Thinking about that, and last weekend I did get a little bit of time to do something about my hot wire table. Look at that. It's actually balsa wood. Balsa wood is surprisingly strong, and it's a gallows, really, isn't it? Not to be confused with a gibbet. If you don't know the difference, look it up. It's interesting. And I think you will agree that that is a thing of beauty and a joy forever. And with the aid of a bit of wire, which I can twist, the original arm of the toy can be pulled up a little bit and pulled over a little bit. And engineers have a word for this kind of work, and unfortunately it's not polite enough for me to repeat. But the wire is approximately straight, and best of all, very slowly, because it's underpowered, not very slowly and very carefully, because it stops working if I put too much strain on the wire. It does actually work. Now, it's going to take me another 20 years, but I can at least start to cut more accurately. I still haven't figured out any form of fence to put on that to actually slide straight edges along. That might be a case of having to do that with foam boards clipped on with bulldog clips or something. Well, any time I do find remaining today, it will be experimenting and fiddling with that. I will probably have to slice up loads of this with a saw first, because it's not going to deal with big chunks. But it does work. It costs nothing. Discovery after cutting all of those, which took a ridiculous long time really. It was kind of therapeutic, but I have worked out that the actual cutting speed, it took a long time to actually get this, figure out what was happening. Cutting speed depends upon the freshness of the batteries. I have this a lot of batteries, this battery tester, but it's not accurate enough. It often goes to just in the green, which is good. These are wonderful things. They cost about £2. They're great for telling if a battery is completely flat or okay, but it's not accurate enough for this purpose. So I have got a recharger for rechargeable batteries, which most of those are. That's what happens if you go away from paying attention. You get a big hole. But fiddling about was my wire. My wire got dirty when my connections wrong. So that little top connection, the little bottom connection underneath, has come undone from time to time. But no, I just need to make sure that I have. I get some more time for this. Those are different batteries and there's a different type of recharger that I use for photography. I've got an ancient charger that charges these C-cell batteries, and I'm just going to have to keep several charged up, so I'm always using them when they're at quite a high level. And I'm going to get on a lot faster now I've sussed that out. It's taken me a long time to get there though. Friday, and episode 5 is up, and I've been slicing. Again, it's a degraded day. I haven't got much time because I've got to clean the place. I've got somebody coming for a photo shoot next week, so just snatching a couple of hours really to work on the project today. Now that is the circuit of the tower. This is the original outer diameter, once based on that big tube. It would be great to have the biggest bricks possible, blocks I should call them, they're not bricks. But if I do that, the mortar gap is too wide, so they have to be as small as that to start getting reasonable mortar gaps, which means not only hundreds of bricks are going to have to be made, but hundreds and hundreds. What am I letting myself in for?